I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, in Hebrew Princess, an ancient love story of faith, author Rhonda Baim shares the tale of Sarah and Abraham, a couple whose devotion to each other and to God is tested time and time again as they navigate the issues of faith, safety, and loss in the desert. Join us as we talk to her about the challenges faced by these biblical figures and the enduring power of their story. We're delighted that Rhonda is joining us here today. Thank the team at Great Writers Media for helping us put Rhonda in the spotlight today, and ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us here today.
It's great to be here today.
I hear you've got a beautiful day. You're in Houston today, right?
Yes, it's beautiful today. It's 80 degrees here in Houston.
Nice. That's not much of a winter then. I don't think you got too much snow then this winter, I presume.
No.
Okay, good. That's a good thing to avoid for sure. And let's talk a little bit about your book. Did you enjoy writing it?
I enjoyed writing it.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to write this book.
I'm sure. Did you write it on your computer, your laptop, or on a pen and pad and paper?
Well, I started out on a pad and paper, and I started out writing with Sarah and Hagar have been talking to me from Sunday school classes, and Sarah, in her strong voice, strong leadership way, and Hagar in her manipulative way, but also in her strong voice.
Yeah.
Hagar has a strong voice, and but also in a needing to be noticed voice. And but I started writing on paper just because I didn't have a computer at that point.
It's kind of the easiest thing to do. You've got the thoughts in your mind.
It's the easiest thing to do.
And instead of breaking out a computer or borrowing a computer, just jot it all down. And that's part of the fun, I imagine. Did you write like the whole big story first and then go back and rewrite? Or did you just kind of start at the beginning and journey on through?
No, actually, I wrote Hagar's story first. I wrote a short story about Hagar, and which ended up being in the middle of the book.
Gotcha.
And
I'd imagine you're a person of great faith. Do you tell me a little bit about your background as far as religion goes? Do you enjoy going to...
That's a journey too.
Okay, tell us about that a little bit.
That I did grow up in the church. My family did take me to church as a child, and I went off and on to Sunday school. I didn't go religiously, so to speak, but I went off and on and joined in high school, and
so that kind of built your faith. You learned a little bit in Sunday school. You went as frequently as you could. And that kind of brings you to writing this epic story of faith, I'd imagine, the story of Sarah and Abraham, right?
Yes, I didn't actually start writing until after I retired. And I didn't even think about writing until after I retired.
Right.
I've worked in business for years and had a whole separate field of business of whole world.
So now you're using a different side of your brain. It's nice to use that creative side of your brain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm using, like you said, a whole different side of my brain and a whole different side of my personality.
That's
And
what's been the reaction of your family and friends when they've seen your book? Are they supportive? Have they enjoyed reading it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, they were surprised. They were surprised at first, and then they were supportive, and they've always been supportive of anything that I've done. My family is very supportive of anything that we do. I have a very supportive family.
That's great. Who did you give the book first to? Did you give it to somebody close to you? Who did you give the book to and say, hey, I wrote this. What do you think?
I gave it to my cousin first.
Mm-hmm.
She corrected the grammar,
Mm-hmm.
and but she's not really very religious, so she wasn't. She didn't really get it.
Right.
So then.
So you gave it to your cousin. She kind of worked as an editor because she was able to correct some of the grammar, which is nice. That's helpful to have. But she's not a very religious person, so she didn't quite understand the message. And the message is a very deep message. If you were to tell the audience what that message of your book is, what is that? What would you like them to know about this story?
It really is a book, the story of faith. Mm-hmm. It really is about Sarah moving from not understanding God to having faith and trust in God. And because she goes from having she follows Abraham all along, and she hears God talk to her.
That's great. You know, we all kind of go through that journey, don't you think, where we don't really know God, we don't understand God, but as we mature and as we listen to what's inside our heads and listen inside our hearts, we start to get a feeling for God and understanding of God.
Yes, but she doesn't. But she realizes that Hagar has a more
kind of like a better understanding or a deeper,
a better experience.
Better experience. Yeah.
Or sees God.
Yeah.
Or God sees Hagar. Hagar sees God. Hagar sees, let's see now. How does it go? Hagar sees God. Let's see, sees God. Sees God. I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
That's okay. But Hagar was a person of great faith who saw God clearly, and in some ways taught Sarah how to better see God.
Yes, and Sarah was jealous of that. And Sarah, being the more wealthy person, thought she should be also the person who saw God better.
Absolutely.
And that was something Sarah had to learn.
Yeah. Like we said, it's something we all have to learn how to know and love and follow God better, for sure. Are you working on any other writing besides this book? I know now that you've written a little bit, I think you've gotten the bug. You're enjoying it, right?
Yes.
What else are you working on?
I am working on a book about the woman with the issue of blood. I had to create a name for her because she's not named. Mm-hmm. And I gave her a whole family. And because she's an old woman at the time, or at least I think of her as an old woman at the time that she is, because it's 12 years that she has this issue of blood. And she touches Jesus's cloak and is immediately healed, but she has this issue of blood for 12 years. And they don't tell you where this issue of blood is. It could be anywhere. It could be on her hand. It could be on her arm. It could be anywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
But just the fact that she's bleeding means that she's unclean. And she cannot go to the worship centers until she's clean.
Right.
And that for 12 years, she cannot go to worship. And so I created a whole family around her, and her family, her children are embarrassed. Her husband's become embarrassed.
It sounds like quite an epic story. Absolutely.
And
it also teaches about the healing touch of Jesus, which is really beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That sounds great. Do you have a name for this new book that you're writing?
No.
Okay.
A name for this book.
That'll be part of the fun of putting the book together, for sure. Now, this book that we're talking about today, tell us a little bit about your vision for Hebrew Princess to become a movie or a TV show. Have you thought about it like that at all?
Yes, we're talking about it with great writers. Had a program that with the program talking to a company about making it into a movie. And
I think that'd be wonderful. I think it'd be very inspirational to a lot of people who don't know the story. I think it would help them renew their faith. I think it would help them in their own struggles, because I think in a lot of ways, we're all sort of lost in the desert, and we have to renew our faith. We have to renew our connection to God and to Jesus in order to navigate our challenging times. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So are you still going to church there in Houston, or was that something
Oh,
you've more or less?
yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
Oh,
Good.
yes.
And have you
Yes,
found
I've been going. In fact, I take my grandchildren now. Took my children to church, and once I grew up, and uh, once I had my children, I started going back to church regularly, and took my children to church and regularly, and I take my grandchildren to church, and they go to church, and my grandchildren and I go to the movies too.
That's great. That's great. How old are your grandchildren?
14 and 7.
Okay. Okay. So you got a
Both boys.
teenager and a little one.
Yes, and they're both boys.
Okay. Okay. They must be a lot of fun to be around, right?
Oh, they are absolutely a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think in some ways, grandkids are more fun than our own kids because we don't have the responsibilities, right?
Absolutely. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just pure joy. I'm absolutely sure. Well, I hope they have the time and the patience to read Grandma's books because this one's great. It's called Hebrew Princess, an ancient love story of faith. It is written by Rhonda Bame. It'll help you renew your faith, renew your relationship with God, renew your relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. She has done God's work here by writing this book that tells the epic tale of Sarah and Abraham. And I think it is one you will absolutely treasure and cherish. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. It's been enjoyable to talk to you.
It's been a great pleasure of mine as well. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.